We'll go ahead and get started. Welcome everyone to the information to the MBA program here at Cal State San Bernardino. My name is Jessica. I oversee the admissions process for the MBA office as well as coordination with the student engagement. With me today, I also have Maggie who helps us oversee the admissions and recruitment process for the MBA online. And we also have Melis, who is our student assistant. In a little bit, she'll share her experience in the program. And yeah, so we'll go ahead and get started. Um, for those of you that are joining today, feel free to ask questions throughout the session. You can either put those in the chat, I'll try to take a look at those. Either raise your hand, unmute yourself, whatever works best for you. We'll be going over a lot of information, but again, I want you to get, if you have questions, I want you to get all of your questions answered, hopefully. So we'll begin with where we're located. So for those students who might not know where we're located, Cal State San Bernardino is in the inland Southern California, about an hour and a half or so from LA without traffic. There's always traffic, but without traffic, it's about an hour and a half. We have a beautiful campus. And our campus is known number 12 best bang for the buck in the West, according to the Washington Mutual. So for the quality program we offer, it's a really good value. And we're also known number 4 in the nation for social mobility, according to the U.S. News and World Report. So some just information about the campus. Now, some of the reasons why students are applying to the Master's in Business Administration here at Cal State San Bernardino is because, first of all, we have very flexible programs. We offer evening, weekend, and fully online course options. So most of our students actually work full-time while they're pursuing the MBA program, which is the reason why we offer really flexible classes. All our classes, if you're pursuing an on-campus program, start 5:30 p.m. or later. And like I mentioned, we have a fully online program option or some fully online courses, just depending on which option you're going to be pursuing. The program in itself it's a great program. We have different resources and opportunities for students to become engaged. Just an example, we have a study abroad course. We have graduate assistantships, kind of like what Melis is doing. She works part-time in our office. And we have a dedicated student advisor who would help you with the selection of the classes each semester. Even though that's very common typically at the undergraduate level, at the graduate level, that's not as common. So we're really proud to have, like I said, a dedicated staff member who helps our students in the program planning out the classes they need each semester. I kind of touched on this a little bit, but we're one of the most affordable MBAs in our region. We'll talk a little bit more about costs, but based on the cost, the quality, and the convenience, we really are proud to offer one of the best options, not just locally, but worldwide. And the reason I say quality is, I'll move on to the next slide, which just notates some of the distinctions we have. We are really proud to be AACSB accredited. For those of you that might not be familiar with the AACSB accreditation, only 5% of the schools in the entire nation hold this accreditation. And it's an accreditation that really sets the standard for business schools. So again, we're really proud to be AACSB accredited. That in itself, hopefully will give you just an insight of what the program entails. Before I go on to the admissions requirements, actually, I'll ask Melis, who is currently a senior in our MBA program, just to give just some insight on what it is to be a student in any. Feel free to also ask her any questions. So, Melis?
So, as an international student at CSUSB, I am working on my MBA in cybersecurity and marketing. I am doing dual concentration. So, my experience has been very positive about CSUSB so far. One of the aspects I truly appreciate is the flexibility of the class schedule. Uh, because most classes, it depends which classes you choose, but most of the classes starts at after 5 p.m. This makes it easier to balance studies and other commitments. And also the MBA program here is not only affordable, but also highly regarded. As Jessica mentioned, it's the accreditation that ensures a quality education. So this was a key factor for me while I was choosing my school. Um, Also, budgeting and value for money are important, very important considerations for me. So it was also good for that aspect. Also, the classes, the professors are really helpful, and they are very well experienced in their fields. Also, I love our campus. It's really good. There are a lot of things to do, and then there are clubs that you can involve. Um, and the support from the MBA advisor has been really, really good for me. They're very approachable, knowledgeable, and they genuinely invested in helping students success. So yeah, feel free to ask me any questions.
Thank you so much, Melis. Yeah, so at this point, I'll take a quick pause in case you guys have any questions for Melis. Like I said, she has a lot of insight on the student perspective. Um, she is also one of our international students, so she is very familiar with the process as well. Feel free to message her privately or I don't see any questions. So I'll assume you don't have any questions, but thank you so much, Melis, for
Well,
joining
am
us.
I audible? Hi, am
Am
I
I-
audible?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hi, Jessica, how are you? Hi, all. Just a
Hi.
quick question for, hi, how are you? Just a quick question for your colleague. Is about the how is the assistantship? What is the assistantship rate, and then what is the process of getting the graduate assistantship? If you can answer the question.
Yeah, I can answer it. So we are using a Handshake. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's like a LinkedIn, but it's for schools, generally universities. So what I did was just applied a couple of graduate assistantships through Handshake. There are a lot of assistantship options. For example, I'm in the MBA office, but Success Center has it, Career Center has it. So there are a lot of available graduate assistantships. Also, teachers are hiring as a GA position. So there is a big opportunity, but it's just you need to apply and keep asking.
Okay, and then thanks for answering. After application, so do we need to get through the interviews or stuff like that, or it's just the
Yeah,
getting?
it's imagine as a job. Yeah, you send your resume
Okay,
and they do an interview, but it's not like it's a normal interview. Yeah, and you have to have a good GPA. Your academic success is important too.
okay, yeah, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you, Melis. Um, I'll go ahead and move on now to the admissions requirements to be admitted to our MBA program. So all students are required to have their bachelor's degree from an accredited institution. At the time of the application, we can accept unofficial transcripts. However, once you're admitted, we will ask for you to provide official transcripts. And what we're looking for ideally is a 3.0 GPA. We can look either at your cumulative GPA or your last 60 semester units, whatever's higher. Now, in the event your GPA is not a 3.0 or higher, we can still consider your application. We can even sometimes go down to a 2.5 GPA, all depending on your experience. So we can compensate the GPA with the rest of the application items. So we'll also take a look at your letter of recommendation, your resume to determine what your experience looks like. With your resume, I encourage all applicants to be detailed on your experience, especially if you have leadership experience. Include months and years in which you held each position, because we go completely off of your resume to determine what your experience is. We'll also ask for you to provide a statement of purpose, which is 200 to 300 word statement on the reasons why you're interested in pursuing our MBA program and why you feel you're going to be successful in our program. Typically about a page long. After you submit your application, we'll also schedule you for an application interview where we meet one-on-one to go over just your background. But going back to the bachelor's requirement, your bachelor's does not have to be in business. It can be in any background, in any major. And we don't require any prerequisites in order to be admitted into the program. So as long as you have a bachelor's, there's no additional classes we'll ask you to complete. Once you're in the program, if you don't have a business background, we will provide, what we call boot camp classes to help compensate your knowledge in business, but you aren't required to have that coming in. Now, we do have two different types of MBA. I should say three, but for admissions purposes, we're looking either at the traditional MBA or the executives MBA. The traditional MBA, like I mentioned, doesn't require any background or major in business. However, we do require for you to meet the business aptitude requirement. And what the business aptitude is to gauge how well you're going to do in business school. So you have to meet one of the following. Either have a 3.2 GPA from an AACSB accredited business program. So for example, if you graduated from our bachelor's in business here at Cal State San Bernardino and you got a 3.2 or higher, we automatically accept your business aptitude that way. If you already have a accredited graduate level degree, so like a master's or doctorate degree from a different institution, you can meet it that way. Another way to meet the business aptitude is if you have 2 years of professional experience in a leadership role. So that's why we want you to be detailed as possible in your resume. Now, if you don't have none of the top three, then we may ask for GRE or GMAT test scores. So those are entrance exams that some business schools might require. So like I said, you must meet just one of the following, not all four. Now, if you're seeking our MBA for executives, it's expected that you already have a lot of leadership skills and a lot of business knowledge. So we do require for you to have at least 2 years of professional experience, specifically in a leadership role. So that includes overseeing other staff, overseeing a facility, overseeing important projects. And again, we are very strict with the 2 year minimum. That's why we ask for you to include months and years in your job entries when you include your resume. I'll take a quick pause here in case you have any questions about the admissions process or any of these items.
Hi, Jessica. I have a
Yeah.
question.
Yes. What is your question,
Can you hear
Rosie?
me okay?
Yes, we can hear you. Rocio, I can hear you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hold on. It's with my audio.
I can hear you.
We have a question in the chat too, Jessica.
Okay.
Hello, sorry, I can hear you now. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so my bachelor's degree is from a foreign school. So how would that work if I don't have a GPA?
So we can calculate your GPA from your transcripts. So we will ask for you to provide official transcripts from the school where you completed your bachelor's. If they're not in English, if your transcripts are not in English, you will have to get them certified, translated. We have different agencies that are certified. And the process would that be is you just submit the transcripts to us. We have an international admissions department that would be in charge of evaluating your transcripts. If for some reason your transcripts cannot be evaluated by our internal department, sometimes we'll ask. It doesn't happen too often. I've only seen once or twice, really. But if they can't be evaluated, for example, if they're from a school we've never worked with or the grading scale is very different, sometimes we will ask for you to go through an evaluation agency to have them evaluated, and then that evaluation agency would provide us the evaluation. Like I said, most of the times we can do the evaluation on our end. It just depends on where those transcripts are coming from. In addition, on top of that, if you have never done schooling in an English learning environment, we will ask for you to show proof of English proficiency, and that could be done different ways. You can either take our English learning program, or you can pass an exam, multiple different exams that are we accept in order for you to prove English proficiency.
Okay. Thank you.
Of course. If you have any additional questions on that, any more details, I can meet with you one-on-one and just elaborate on that process.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much.
Any other questions on the admissions requirements? I don't see any other questions, so move on to the next slide where we kind of differentiate the different types of MBA programs. So when you graduate, regardless of which option you go with, your diploma and your transcripts are still going to say MBA, but there's different routes you can take in terms of the concentrations or the modality of the program. So we have our traditional MBA, which, like I mentioned, is for students with all backgrounds. That their traditional MBA is between 36 to 42 units. It does come with a concentration, which we'll discuss in the next slide. So you select a concentration that you want to focus on. So depending on your concentration, it's going to be between 36 to 42 units or 12 to 14 courses. Our traditional MBA does require for you to come to campus. So it's a hybrid program. Even though there are some fully online courses within the program, you are required to come between 2 to 4 times a week, just depending on how you're selecting your schedule each semester. It really can vary, but you will have to come to campus at least, like I said, typically 2 to 4 times a week. We also have our executives MBA, which can be done on hybrid or fully online. Now, for the executives MBA, like I mentioned, you are required to have 2 years of leadership experience. That program is 30 units, 10 courses, and we have it on campus or hybrid, where you would have to come to campus sometimes with some online classes. And then we have the fully online modality. I'll let Maggie talk a little bit more about the fully online option.
Thank you, Jessica. Hi, everyone. I'm Maggie Garcia. I am the student advisor for the fully online MBA Online for Executives program. So just a few things I'd like to have students keep in mind of as they're deciding whether or not they wanted to go the traditional route, the hybrid, or the fully online track. So I am the dedicated advisor for the online track. If you're interested in taking the program 100% online and asynchronous, one of the main things to consider is the requirement of the 2 years of leadership experience. As Jessica has mentioned, there are various ways that you can meet that. First, you would submit a resume to us confirming those 2 years of experience. That could be met through leadership, supervision roles, or project management. If you have questions on that, would like to get reviewed, you would send it to mbaonline@csusb.edu. In the chat, I'll input my contact information as well as the email where you would send the resume. All of the program requirements are the same. The bachelor's degree or personal statement, the only difference for the executive track is the 2 years of leadership experience. I also like to have students take note that our format for the fully online program is a little bit different. So the online MBA executive program is considered accelerated. So the program in itself has 6-week courses dividing into 2 sessions. So there are 2 6-week sessions in the fall, 2 6-week sessions in the spring, 1 5-week session in winter during the intersession, and then 2 5-week sessions in the summer. So just keep that in mind. It's extremely accelerated, but students approximately finish the program at the earliest we've seen about 22 months. You have full support with us, including Jessica and Melise. We're here to support you as you submit your application. That's one of the best things about our MBA program is at a graduate level. That's not really common. So definitely utilize us. We're available, advising appointments, email, phone. I'd like to request that if you are interested in the online format for the fully online executive track, if you could put in the chat for Zoom your full name and your email. That way I can send you all of the requirements on our end and information about the program in itself in a way that you can communicate with me. I can send you an email. So go ahead and feel free to put in the chat your name and your complete email, and then I'll be sending you information. But other than that, I will take it back to Jessica. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maggie.
You're welcome.
And yes, like she mentioned, so the online executives is a little bit more accelerated and the class terms are a little bit different. If you're doing on-campus hybrid programs, we work on the semester basis. So it's full 15 to 16 week long classes, but you could take multiple classes at once in the semester. So just wanted to kind of point that out. Now, if you're pursuing the traditional MBA, so the traditional MBA only, you'd have the option of selecting a concentration. Like I mentioned, most concentrations will make your program 12 classes. However, if you're pursuing cybersecurity, it's a STEM designated program, so it would be a total of 14 classes that you'd be pursuing there. And you can also do dual concentration. So there's multiple concentrations you want to pursue. You can pursue both. Of course, it's going to be a little bit longer, but you'd have the 2 concentrations within your transcripts and diploma. Okay. Now, I've talked a little bit about the cost, so I wanted to give you real numbers for you to get an idea of what the cost is. So for our traditional MBA program, if students who are taking around 3 classes per semester and you're a resident, you can expect around 37,800 for the traditional MBA. And if you're doing the cybersecurity concentration, it would be around 43,758. If you're a non-resident or international student, there's different tuition rates. So for that, you're looking around, let's say, 53,000 for the traditional MBA, or around 61,398 if you're pursuing the cybersecurity option, because again, it's a little bit longer. So you're paying for additional semesters. If you're doing the executives MBA, it's less classes. So for students who are taking around 3 classes per semester and are residents, you're looking roughly around 30,000. And non-residents or international students, around 42,874. Now, for the fully online program, there's a set cost of 33,000 regardless of how long it takes you to complete the program. The reason why this is an estimate for the on-campus is because you're getting charged per semester. So depending on how many semesters it takes you to complete the program, it can vary. Whereas the fully online, it's a set cost. So you're getting charged per class, not per semester. So it's a total of 33,000 for the fully online MBA for executives. Now, there are some ways we have to help you finance your degree. So if you're a resident or are eligible, does someone have questions?
Yes, I have a question.
Yeah.
So in the previous slide, if I'm a resident but under a working visa, would I consider as a resident or as an international student?
If you're a resident within the state of California, there's certain criteria you have to meet. I think you have to have lived here for at least a year. So the registrar's office will determine that based on your application. I can connect you with them, but typically it's based on how long you've been here in California.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I was saying earlier, if you qualify for FAFSA, so typically you can be considered for student loans as well as the sub grant or the graduate business grant if you are taking on-campus classes and you're a resident. So the grants are free money, however, they are need-based. So I want to be transparent. Not a lot of students qualify for the grants because they are need-based. So students typically, if you have income, depending on your household size, your income, that's what they're going to look at to determine if you qualify for the state grant or the graduate business grant. If you qualify for FAFSA, most students will be eligible for loans to help you cover the cost up front, but then you'd have to, of course, repay those in the future. And then international students who are not eligible for FAFSA, you are expected to have the funds to cover the tuition, but there are graduate assistantship opportunities, kind of like what Melis was saying, to help with the cost. However, like I said, typically there's no financial aid available if you're an international student, other than graduate assistantships. Now, we also encourage all applicants and students who are interested in financial aid to seek privately funded scholarships. Because our tuition's already very low compared to other schools, we aren't able to offer internal scholarships or as many. So we encourage students to look for privately funded scholarships. The way those scholarships work is you do have to find the scholarships that you meet the qualifications for. So it requires a lot of research. Once you apply for those scholarships, just because you apply does not mean you're going to get it. There might be competition. For example, there might be one scholarship and multiple students applying and only one person's going to get it. So that's the downside of the scholarship, is that it does take a little bit more work and it's not guaranteed. But the positive side is that it's potential free money you can get to help pay for your degree. Also, another thing I forgot to add is if you are currently working, ask your employer if they have options for tuition reimbursement. A lot of employers do have that benefit that could help you pay for your tuition, even if it's not all of it. I always encourage students to ask their employer and see if there's potential funds there that you can also utilize. I'll take a quick pause here to talk about the cost and finances. I don't see any questions. Any questions about any of these items?
No
Just
question
on
from
the
this side.
Okay. What was your question? Did someone?
Yeah, so just on the FAFSA thing, do they just look at the academics or the whole profile? Like, maybe you have already mentioned, I missed it, apologies, but what criterias are there to meet for the FAFSA?
For FAFSA. So the FAFSA is only for domestic students, just so you know. But if you're a domestic student, then they're going to look at your income and your house
Okay.
criteria.
Yeah, bad luck. Sorry, bad luck. I am international, so
Okay, yeah. So unfortunately, international students don't qualify for FAFSA.
okay, yeah, no worries.
Mhm. So in regards to what the program looks like once you are admitted, there's different events that will happen throughout the year. We have a new student orientation that we host for all our new students each semester to help guide you with the processes, introduce you to staff. We'll introduce you to your academic advisor. His name's DeLauren, and like I said, he would be who can guide you throughout the entire program. We also have what we call the Passport Leadership Program, which is an optional program that you have to kind of persuade you to attend some of the events that we have throughout the year. So for example, we'll have a career and internship fair, um, different events throughout the year that we encourage for students to attend. When you attend a minimum number of events, you'll be awarded a leadership award for you to collect and add to your resume. We have also the Student Ambassadors Program. Melis is actually one of our student ambassadors, and what it is, it's we select a handful of students to represent our our MBA student body and speak with prospect students about what it is to be a student in our program and give them an insight. Um, and in return, you get professional funds to help with, for example, if you wanted to attend a conference or anything like that. We also have Coyote Network, which is our version of LinkedIn. It's an internal network that we have to connect our current students with alumni and potential employers. So again, it's like a platform that we use like LinkedIn, but just for internal parties. And some of the resources that we have for our students, we have our services with students with disabilities. So in case you need accommodations in any of your classes, we have an office dedicated to help you with those accommodations. The Recreation and Wellness Center, so a gym that you could utilize on campus. Counseling services. We have the Veteran Success Center in case you happen to have any military benefits to utilize. Our Career Center, who will host internship and career fairs throughout the year. We have an on-campus grad success center. So that's a physical center that you designated for graduate students. Since a lot of our students, like I mentioned, work and need just a space to focus, there's a kitchenette and computers that you can utilize. And again, it's designated specifically for graduate students with extended hours for you to use. We'll have different sporting events, study abroad programs in case you're interested in that. And we also have Overshaw Den, which is also a center that focuses on helping our students with basic needs like food, housing, clothing, even. So it's like I said, a great resource for our students in case you need any of these. I also wanted to go over our website. If you haven't visited already, I would advise for you to go and visit our website because we post a lot of important information there. For prospect students, we'll have all the admissions requirements, the deadlines. For current students, we post a lot of the like events, forms that you might need, course information, program information, department information. So like I said, if you haven't visited, go to csusb.edu/MBA and you'll get all the information on the program. And then we did want to go over the application deadline. So at the moment, we are accepting applications for fall 2025. The deadline for domestic students is going to be July 1st, 2025. If you're an international student or if you have foreign transcripts, you would want to apply no later than June 1st. But the sooner the better, because it does take us a little bit longer to evaluate foreign transcripts. And if you need a visa to process the visa, we see it very often where students apply last minute and it doesn't give them enough time to get the visa and come to the United States. So for that reason, if you already know you're applying to our program, we encourage for your students to apply sooner than later so that in the event we need additional documents or to give you more time to register for classes, get the paperwork needed. Again, we encourage for students to apply sooner than later, but again, no later than June 1st if you're an international student or July 1st if you're domestic. And this would be to start August 2025. Now, if you're applying for our fully online MBA for executives, we do have a session that's going to start in March. It would be a spring session 2. And is the deadline coming up, Maggie? I always forget the deadline for
No, it's
spring
okay.
session 2.
So for spring session 2, the application deadline is February 27th, and your start date would be March 17th.
Perfect. Thank you. And again, that's specifically for the MBA online for executives. If you're on social media, we also encourage for you to follow us. We are on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube. On YouTube, we'll actually be posting a recording of today's session, and on the rest of our platforms, we post updates, events happening. So even when you become a student, we try to stay relevant with the information we share for you. So again, if you're on social media, please follow us and just send us a friend request so we can add you. Now, if you have any specific questions and you wanted to schedule a one-on-one appointment with me, you can scan for the QR code. It'll take you to my scheduling page. If you're interested in the fully online program, Maggie will be a good resource. So just let her know what your email address is and your name and email address, and she'll get in touch with you. But like I said, if you wanted to set up a one-on-one appointment with me, you can scan the QR code. Now, that sums up all the items I wanted to go over, but did any of you have any additional questions we can discuss?
Well, just on the webinars that you guys are doing, do you have any idea or information about California State Universities if they are doing the same
For what, I'm sorry?
for the same webinars that you have
Oh,
arranged
okay.
today? Yeah.
Each program is going to be different, especially if you're looking for MBA programs. They're typically monitored by that specific campus. So I wouldn't be able to tell you exactly when the other campuses are showing them. So you'd have to visit probably each of the campuses' websites.
Okay, yeah, no problem. And I have few other questions if that's okay with you.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so you mentioned in the first slide that you have flexibility, of course, over the schedule like evening and weekends. So do you offer mornings as well?
We do not offer mornings, unfortunately.
Okay, yeah, no issue. Uh, and just on the STEM, so you mentioned cybersecurity is a STEM MBA, and apart from that, apologies, I couldn't able to process all the information. So other MBA programs, are they not STEM?
Correct. The rest of the concentrations are not STEM designated. We are hoping to launch a business analytics concentration hopefully this fall. It hasn't been fully executed yet, so it's not available just
Sure.
yet, but we're hoping to start offering the business analytics program or concentration in the fall, and that would also be hopefully STEM designated. But at the moment,
Sure.
cybersecurity is the only option for STEM.
Sure, yeah. And just the last one on the graduate certificate. Do you offer any STEM graduate certificate if you like if you know?
I don't know, honestly. From my knowledge, within the business department, we do not.
Okay.
Yeah, but I only oversee the business program, so um, maybe you can just do a little bit more research and see if there's a specific subject you're interested in and see if we have other certificate programs that are STEM designated.
Okay, yeah, no issue. Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Mhm. Thank you. All right. Well, in that case, I don't see any other questions, but thank you all for joining me today. Hopefully you got most of your questions answered. I am here to help, so is Maggie. So if you have any questions between now and when you apply, please let us know. And again, thank you so much.
Thank you.